Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a great day. Today, we will dive into actual practical training. I'll review the basics of the exercise rubric. We will talk about the articles that you've been reading this week in regards to effective communication and cueing. And then it's your turn to practice components of the rubric. I've uploaded 2 videos for you that follow the rubric in teaching upper body exercise to a client. They're in the week 3 folder for you. A few class reminders before we begin. You'll have a D2L discussion. It's already posted on week 3 folder. That is due this Thursday. So it's worth 2.5 bonus points on your final letter grade for the course. So please chime in, be thorough in your answers, explain things, map things out, really discuss with the group. You have a test on D2L that is due this Sunday at 11:59 p.m. And if you haven't gotten started on your 10-hour observation log, please find a location and get started. If you need help in finding someone to shadow, let me know. Okay. All right. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll dig into the exercise training rubric. So this rubric is something that you should print out. Create your dialogue on paper and follow the rubric. That's going to help you get a good grade on all of the practical tests. So you'll notice there's a scale from excellent to very poor. You can get a total of 50 points per practical test, and all of this is what you will be graded upon. Okay. So your ability to explain the exercise. You're going to do some research and find an exercise, whether it's upper body, lower body, functional movement, or any movement, and you need to explain that exercise to the client. You're also going to demonstrate the exercise, show the client through visual demonstration what the exercise looks like. You'll talk about proper form and why we use the exercise. You're going to demonstrate that proper form to the client. During your time training the client, you'll need to explain the muscle groups that are being used. Okay, I need to know that you know the scientific names. However, you'll also add in, say it's a squat. You're working the front and back of the leg, bring it back down to layman's terms, in addition to knowing we're working the quadriceps, we're working the hamstrings and the glutes. Okay. Explain what training system is being used and demonstrate and explain sets and reps in the system. These two go hand in hand when you talk to the client about how many reps and sets they'll complete, and how this exercise is incorporated into programming. So let's say the client is aiming for endurance training. They might do anywhere from 12 to 20 repetitions of work, and we might go into a total body circuit. Okay, so this exercise that I choose, 12 to 20 reps, will be in a circuit with 4 other exercises, and we will complete 3 to 4 total sets, just checking on any fatigue or lack in form that might determine a lower number of sets that we'll use. Explain and demonstrate spotting, physical cueing, or verbal cueing, and ask for permission to spot. If the exercise can be spotted, practice spotting with the client. I want to see that you understand how to spot. If your exercise doesn't necessarily need spotting, say that. This exercise doesn't necessarily need spotting. If the client lacked in form, I might have them stop or vary the exercise or lower the load. Okay. Talk about proper breathing techniques and then demonstrate that you see and hear for faults. Okay. Are you seeing that in a squat their knees are over the toes? Can you fix that? Okay. Do you observe? Do you walk around the client? Do you speak out whenever it's time to, so that their safety is not compromised? All right. So the more you prepare for this, the better off you're going to be, the better grades you will make. And if you have questions on the rubric, I'm here. You have 4 articles under week 3 that illustrate important points on proper coaching, quality coaching, how to be a great trainer instead of just a good basic trainer. Read through those articles and let's practice these points that might relate to you as a trainer. All right, so I know that there's a lot of information on the articles, but take your time to read. You have the whole entire semester to really read through these and pick and choose things that make sense to you. So the point of this class, again, is to bridge the gap between education and class and practical application. All right, so it's common for fitness professionals to really understand the science behind training, but with things like anatomy and physiology and how biomechanics work. But something that's missing is motor learning. And in these articles, it'll teach you how to assess it. How is the brain working? How is the brain connecting with the nervous system? And is the person learning in a progressive way how to move properly, how to move with quality form? And once we learn how the nervous system works, how the brain works, and it responds with exercise, our clients will appreciate a much more comprehensive training experience. Okay, so it's not just all about, you know, the movement and what's the coolest exercise that I can ask my client to do. It's about understanding how will the client best learn the progressive steps for each movement, and then how do I progress that client once they get their form down. Okay, maybe I'm adding external load. Maybe I'm adding more complexity to the movement. Maybe I'm adding another element, like if it's a squat, maybe I'm adding a press. So now we're having a total body exercise going on. All right, so again, motor learning is the process through which the body learns and retains information. You have different types of skills that are outlined in your articles. And the essence of this is that building the toolbox of the types of skills will help you to better understand how to advance your client through motor patterns. All right, so it'll help you lead clients at an individual level. Okay, so knowing when to advance is going to be important, and you do this by accurate record keeping, really great observation, getting engaged with the client while they're working and checking out how are their joints responding, how is their form, how is their fatigue, are they asking questions, are they answering your questions in a way that shows you that they're learning. Feedback is another term that was outlined in the articles, and it's information gathered about a movement while it's learned, and it can come internally or externally. So letting the client work without over speaking, over detailing the cues, let them feel what these exercises feel like. Allowing them to make mistakes as long as safety is not compromised is going to give them the chance to take in internal feedback. So it's what is their body doing, how are they feeling, and it'll allow them to adjust based on their own internal feedback. Additionally, external feedback is something that comes from us as the coach, as the trainer, as the physical therapist, etc. Okay, so allow the client to feel what it's like when it's incorrect. Allow them to feel what it's like when it's correct and give them praise. And give them the opportunity to adjust based on internal feedback. There are different stages of learning. So we have the cognitive stage, which is verbal. That's me verbally cueing. Associative, that's now they're able to move well, but they're still making some mistakes. But they're getting better. They haven't just mastered it yet, but they're almost there. And then third is the autonomous level, where now they are able to perform these exercises on their own without assistance. We move into coaching cues. You have verbal, visual, and tactile. We start with verbal. We speak it out. We get information through them through verbal conversation. These are task-oriented things, like you're going to press the weight overhead. You're going to bend the elbow and bring the weight to the shoulder in a bicep curl. You're going to step up on the platform, etc. Visual or demonstration. You're going to demo throughout your practical training, and this is how they learn, by watching. Tactile is the third one. You will ask the person if you can touch them. From there, you might tap their shoulder if they need to maybe activate the shoulder muscles in the shoulder. Okay, you might tap the back shoulder blades and teach them how to pull their lats down in a pull up or lat pull down. So cueing, a lot of, one of the most important things is, when are you going to cue? When do I give feedback? So feedback timing. Is it necessary to cue, and when is it or is it not? Between sets, cueing is most effective. So you won't talk their heads off while they're completing their sets, but in between the sets, you can chat with them and you're probably going to be more effective in your cueing. Avoid technical jargon. We're not overdoing it with all the science. We're not talking over and over and over again about things that they really don't understand or care about. They just want to work out. You want to have the client activate into the desired movement pattern by starting with the opposite pattern. So the article talks about, if you want their shoulders down and back, you might first have them shrug their shoulders up into the earlobes and then pull them down and back. That way they feel what it should feel like with active shoulders. Choose your words wisely. How you describe something, you want things to be concise, you want things to be clear. Be mindful of the words that come out of your mouth when cueing. All right, so this is why we partner up during these practical sessions. You'll practice speaking and you'll see, are my words making sense to the client? Are they following along with what I'm saying? All right. In the CrossFit Level 2 journal article, pages 14 through 22, they talk about the dimensions that need to be addressed in order to be a really great trainer or coach. And this transfers in, if you want to be an athletic trainer, physical therapist, anything in general, how can you teach someone? These aspects really hit home. So how the client adapts to your training is dependent on your depth and breadth of trainer capacity in the areas of teaching, seeing, correcting movement, your ability to manage your client, or maybe in a small group setting, the group, your presence and attitude. How do you show up? How's your attitude while you're working with people? And your ability to demonstrate. So teaching, are you effectively articulating and instructing the mechanics, including the ability to focus on the major points of performance before subtle ones? All right, so if I'm talking about a squat, I want them to stand upright, fully extended at the hips and knees. From here, we're going to sit back, bend at the hips first, chest stays up, down to parallel or below, and we're coming right back up. Okay, so talk about major points of performance. Being able to distinguish good from poor form mechanics. Can you pick out what the issues are? Is their form good? Can it be better? What little cues can I give once they've gotten the movement down and maybe now they are in that associative stage of learning? They're able to perform it, but they can still get better. My ability to correct, the ability to facilitate better mechanics for an athlete using visual, verbal, and tactile cues. You're going to notice that in this class, your peers understand exercise. It may be hard to find faults in their movement, but you can always find something to work on to help that person get a little bit better. Okay, so even if their deadlift form looks nice, there's always something. Maybe the hips can go back a little bit more, the butt can be dropped a little more, knees can be back a little more, lats can be pulled back a little bit more, etc. Okay, your ability in group management to organize and manage your clients or members. This includes managing your time, organizing your space, getting the equipment out that's needed and spacing it out, and letting your clients have a great flow and experience throughout their session. And a lot of that comes by planning ahead and being prepared. Last is how you show up. And this should be something that you think about on a daily basis when you get up in the morning. What is your presence and attitude going to be like? Are you engaging people in a positive learning environment? Is it fun for them? They look forward to coming to this training session all day. This is their time that they can't wait to be with you, getting guided throughout a 1 hour, 30-minute session, whatever the case. Do you show empathy to the client? Listening to them. And that might come from things that they're telling you and things they're not saying. And then building rapport, getting to know the client, getting to know about who they are, about what goes on in their home life, etc. Okay, not saying that you need to be their therapist, but you need to be in tune with them as a human, not just about their exercise. So again, think about all those points, go into the discussion and answer the question. It is a question about thinking about who was your favorite, maybe coach, mentor, physical therapist, athletic trainer, anyone in the health and fitness field. And why were they your favorite? What about them made you trust them and in turn learn from them? Okay, we're thinking about big picture, and this is going to translate into how you carry yourself as a trainer or a fitness professional. All right. So I will stop there, and we will meet today one-on-one for those who are face-to-face. If you're online, go ahead and practice. Think of your upper body movement for this first practical exam, and start to dive into the creation of your conversation and your training session with your client. As you're watching those videos, those 2 videos that are posted under week 3, watch how it's instead of it being robotic and going through step by step of the rubric, I'm going with the flow of working with the client, but I'm making sure to add all of those components into the session. Treat the client as a human, have fun with them, get to know them, make sure that they feel like they're cared for, and get all of the points across. All right. I hope you have a good day.